So, hello and welcome to a new episode, co-episode with MLB UK Clubhouse. George from the Astros is here with us. Nice to meet you, George. Sorry.
Thanks, Niklas. It's a pleasure to be here. A pleasure to meet both you and David as well here. It's interesting to see what MLB Europe have put together for this Hackney Bridge takeover, and I'm looking forward to discussing with you.
Definitely. So we are really proud to be here. And as I mentioned in our last podcast episode, I will be with you with my teammate, David. So hello and nice to be with you together, David.
Thank you, Niklas, for inviting me here. I'm very happy to be here in London in an amazing environment here. And I'm very happy and very excited to talk about all the topics that we're going to cover today.
Absolutely.
So, but first, George, I want to know the trade deadline. How does it work for the Astros?
Oh wow, it was a flurry of activity. It was absolute madness. The headline being our stunning move to bring back Carlos Correa, Astros legend already. He'd been with the Twins for the last 3 to 4 years since leaving the Astros, and I don't think any Astros fan had even really considered genuinely the prospect of him coming back. But suddenly the rumblings were there a couple of days ago, and almost out of nowhere, a deal was done, and the Minnesota Twins have had somewhat of a fire sale, just getting rid of so many players left, right, and center. And Jim Crane, the Astros owner, saw the opportunity to go in and get him back, and it's amazing. That was the headline. It also brought in Ramon Urias, the versatile infielder from the Baltimore Orioles, and Jesus Sanchez from the Miami Marlins, lefty outfielder. We've been lacking a lefty bat with Yordan Alvarez out injured for most of the season. So yeah, in short, really excited about what the rest of the season's got to offer, because we've had a ton of injuries and we badly needed the help.
Yeah, the injuries are a big thing for the Astros, definitely. You are now leading the American League West.
Yeah.
So the Mariners did also a good job for the trade deadline. So their corners are really stacked now with Josh Naylor and Eugenio Suarez. What to expect for the second half between the Astros and especially the Mariners? But I would say this is a race for the division title.
Absolutely. I think it's going to be a very close race. It was last year, and I expect it to be this year right to the wire. We've got the advantage at the moment. We've had it for a little while, but I think it's going to be very, very tight. I certainly wouldn't discount the Texas Rangers, because their rotation is nasty, and we saw that when we played them fairly recently. If honestly, if you were pushing me, I think they're going to be our closest challenger rather than the Mariners. For me, and I know Mariners fans won't want to hear it, but it's kind of almost like it's in their DNA that they've got this mental block where they can't get over the line to go to that next step. And I think that's going to be the case here. I think it's going to be a battle. It will be a three-way battle, but I think it's going to eventually come down to the Astros against the Rangers in terms of the division title. And of course, I'm going to say it, but I think the Astros will come out on top again.
I would say that you would say that, or would you know that we would say that, definitely. So my English is not really best, so that's good. But David is also here.
Your English is much, much better than my German. Trust me.
But German is a really difficult language, so we have to figure it out later on. I think so. But yeah, I think we saw one of the craziest trade deadlines ever in the last years, definitely, because we hadn't the big name. I think the biggest name was Eugenio Suarez. He got traded as expected. But so the Minnesota Twins maybe lost their whole team. So San Diego Padres can't play any minor league games because everyone
was gone. Yeah.
So it was really crazy.
Yeah, I think it's going to be set for a wild last third of the season. Ever since they expanded the postseason, you have so many teams that understandably think they can get into the wild card as maybe the second place team and do damage that way. Because we all know that baseball is funny like that. You got 162 games, but if you get a team that's hot coming into October and they make it into the postseason, doesn't matter whether they won the division, doesn't matter whether they're wild card, they can do damage and they can become that buzzsaw which kind of carves their way through October. And yeah, it's about who's hot. It is what it is. And I'm sure that sometimes it seems like, we dominated the regular season and then we crashed out in the first round of the playoffs, whereas another team that struggled just got hot at the end and then has had a deep run into October. But that's kind of the beauty of the game, I guess.
But let's talk about why we are here, right?
Absolutely, let's do it.
And the first question, and I think it's an obvious question for our German audience. You are an Astros fan.
Yeah.
And this is quite uncommon to be an Astros fan. So explain why you became an Astros fan.
Right. Well, it dates back to when I was 14 years old in 1999. happened to be up late one night, and they were showing on a network channel here, Channel 5. They were showing broadcasts of the ESPN Sunday night and Wednesday night baseball, and I was watching it, and I had no connection to America whatsoever. I had I had no connection to American sports, and I played a lot of cricket. So I had a bat and ball interest already, but no connection to baseball. And I was watching it, and I thought, this looks like something that I'd really want to get into. And in doing that, it was a case of trying to find something to latch onto. And whilst we're not talking about Shohei Ohtani levels of being a two-way player, the Astros had a pitcher called Mike Hampton, Bulldog, and he was a really good hitter for a pitcher. He could hit. And for me, I kind of had kind of transferred and translated as like a what we call an all-rounder in cricket, someone who bats this on the balls. So I started watching him that like August, September 1999. And I knew that when the season finished, if I wanted to get into the sport properly, I'd have to pick a team to support. So I thought, right, okay, I like this guy. Even though it was, and I wanted to pick a team. I didn't want to go the glory hunting route. So the Yankees were in the middle of their dynasty, as they say, and I didn't want to go that route. It's kind of too easy. If you're picking the team that's winning everything, you're never really going to get that fan experience of trying to work towards a title. And I wanted to pick a team that hadn't won a championship, but was a good team, and the Astros certainly were. So I said, right, I'm going to be an Astros fan, primarily on the basis of Mike Hampton. Lo and behold, before the 2000 season, he gets traded to the New York Mets. So I had a decision to make. Do I follow Hampton to the Mets and become a Mets fan, or do I stick with the Astros? I thought, if I follow Hampton and become a Mets fan, I'm going to end up changing my team every time he changes team. So it's not going to work. So I said, no, I made my decision. I'm an Astros fan, and 25 years later, here I am.
Nice story, definitely.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting that you just become a fan because of one player. Yeah. And I think I have similar experience as well. I recently got into watching Dodgers, and pretty new fan just because of obviously Shohei Ohtani.
Of course, yeah.
And I've heard that Niklas, you're also pretty new to baseball compared to George. Obviously, you're also a Dodger fan. So can you also talk about your journey to becoming that?
Yeah, to introduce us maybe to your audience.
Absolutely, yeah.
So we are the basis for the podcast based in Germany, as we already mentioned. And our podcast started originally, I think, in 2019 with another connection of people. I was always there behind the scenes. So I was always the person to say, okay, you can talk maybe about these things or talk about these things. And I was interested in baseball, but I had no favorite team. So, but maybe coming back. So why are you here, David? As I told my podcast colleague, Kevin became father 3 months ago. So he wasn't able to make the trip, but I had the chance to get another just one. So that's why David is here with me. And I am Dodgers fan since 2022. I was at the Dodgers Stadium. It was quite curious because we were just walking around Los Angeles. Wanted to go to the Dodgers Stadium. The police officer say, okay, you can go this way, all the way to the team store. We got a little way off the pass and ended up to be in the stadium. So this was the moment where I said, okay, it's things really big. And I watched more Dodgers game. Obviously, it's not good that they're on the West Coast to watch all the games. So I am able to have to see all the highlights. But whenever I can, I watch the games live, definitely. And so Dodgers to see live, not happened before. This is something I really want to see in the next years. And I'm hopefully that we will see it maybe in the next year here in London, or
who knows? Yeah, I think that's the big question. If if it's going to be that 2026 London series that was talked about previously, who will be the teams that come over? I think that's definitely another conversation for sure.
Yeah, in our last episode, I talked with my podcast colleague Kevin about, is it maybe a hint that we are 4 teams here? So we have the San Francisco Giants represented as well as the Dodgers.
Yeah.
And we have the Yankees and the Red Sox. So the NFL are doing in London the back-to-back weekends over.
Right.
So maybe is it a little hint? So we have one weekend the West Coast rivalry and the other weekend the East Coast rivalry.
It could well be. I think from a personal point of view, I'd love to see MLB bring different teams other than ones that they've already had here in terms of the Yankees and the Red Sox who played in 2019 in that memorable first London series when it was absolutely scorching here in London. It was, let me tell you, that first game, which went on for, I think, around 5 hours.
Yeah,
with
crazy.
Unbelievable 6-6 in the first inning.
2 innings took 2 hours.
Oh yeah, it was astonishing. Yeah, it was absolutely, genuinely unbelievable. For UK fans, it was an amazing experience. I know that some people in the US kind of looked at it as like, oh, it's a smaller park and it's high scoring for whatever reason, but it was amazing, and I wouldn't have changed it for the world. I think that was great. But in terms of next year, I would love to see different teams come over, just because I think it's great that we've had a chance to see so far 6 different teams. And I know that naturally you want to find the rivalry angle to try and give something a bit of the extra needle to kind of use it as a hook, which is ideal. But sometimes you just have to try and work out what sells and what teams would be the best ones to bring over. So I think that's definitely a conversation to have.
Yeah, because one big thing is also if we have maybe 4 teams here, I think that will be definitely the next step for the baseball here in Europe, but also to make the game more affordable for people, because the ticket prices are really expensive, to be totally honest. So maybe a person who's not interested in baseball sees the prices and say, no, maybe we're not.
It's too high for them to just go from a non-fan to just pay $100, €100 to go for a game that you don't even know the players.
It's a big ask. Absolutely right. If you imagine a family, you've got, say, husband and wife, 2 children. I mean, and then that's the tickets alone. You're looking at minimum £400. That's for one day. If you want to go to both days, again, you're looking at you may be looking at £800 just to go for 2 games, and then that's not even taking into account travel, accommodation if you're coming from abroad or further afield, and then you've got your food as well on top of that. So you're practically paying what you have to pay for a holiday to come over just to watch the 2 games. So I definitely agree with that. I think that there's I'm not gonna say that I'm an economist or a businessman or in any sense, but from a very basic layman's point of view, there has to be a way to try and find a more accommodating middle ground. Because I understand that it costs a ton of money to get the teams over here, and obviously there's nothing wrong with looking to make money out of this series. Of course, that's what it's about from a business side of things. But I think there has to be a middle ground. I'm totally with you on that. I think that if there is a way to find a slightly more cost-effective pricing structure for the fans, that would be an amazing thing.
So we have a little music in the background. I hope you can hear us loud and clearly. But I have a question. You are based here in London directly. So how big is the London series, or how do you feel the London series in the week or 2 weeks before the London series started last year?
Honestly, I think they're getting bigger and bigger. I think the interest levels have been really cool. It's been an amazing experience just to be part of it. What MLB did so well last year and the year before that was with Trafalgar Square with the takeover that they had there. Absolutely phenomenal to have all these different activities, which are just incredible for the fans to be able to try and get on board with baseball and try and get that route in and because everyone, like we said, everyone's got the different origin stories. It might be a case of that they were able to kind of develop that love from just like the whole experience of seeing something that's kind of connected with it. I know that some people get involved with the food side of it. That some people just love the experience of the ballpark. So I've given you a long-winded answer, but in terms of like the London series experience, I think that it does ramp up before the series, like in the lead up to it. It's not to the point where like 3-4 weeks before everyone's talking about it, but when it's getting closer and closer, I think there's definitely a buzz, certainly amongst the existing baseball fan base here, and I'm sure this is something which we'll cover in a short moment anyway. But it's amazing to see that growth and expansion of the fan base, and that's from an MLB UK Clubhouse point of view, that's what we're all about. So we love seeing this London series, and we're just anxious to keep that momentum going.
Yeah.
When COVID came and the pandemic came, it knocked everyone out, knocks everyone for 6 to use cricketing parlance. Like we had that big gap after 2019 where everyone was on top of the world, and then suddenly, bam, we were out the game for 2 to 3 years. And we've been building that momentum back slowly but surely. And it's a really cool thing to see happen.
Yeah, it's an interesting point because now we have the break as well because Paris games got cancelled, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So no games anyway here in Europe. So we have to wait, hopefully, for the 2026 series. Do you think that could be also the problem? Because I saw that they had problems to sell the tickets for the Cardinals Cubs games.
Well, I mean, I think not for me to say, and I'm not involved with the kind of ticketing side of it, but the ballpark was very full. You got to remember that the London Stadium is a 60,000 seat stadium, which compared to most MLB stadiums, it's larger. So like if not all of, but like there was still a very, very good attendance. Was it sold out? Maybe on paper it was sold out. It wasn't actually completely full on the days, but there was still huge crowds there. I think that I mean, we talked about it a moment ago with in terms of the pricing of it. I think that makes it tricky to sell them in advance. And MLB wants to try and stage it so that when you've got the initial tickets coming out, they'll approach it that way, see what's left over, and then kind of amend and adjust the pricing strategy or however they're selling the tickets. I'm sure there are lessons to be learned, as there would from any experience, and I've got full faith in them to do that. And I don't think that's the reason why we haven't had an announcement yet on 2026. I'm sure there are other various machinations that play as to what teams come over. It can't be easy to try and engineer the MLB schedule so you've got two teams that take that kind of break to then travel transatlantically and then come back. It must be a heck of an effort to try and put that together. So let's see.
You already talked about the MLB UK Clubhouse. So tell me about your work on the MLB UK Clubhouse.
Absolutely. So there's a group of us. My co-MLB UK Clubhouse member, Nick, who also runs LA Angels UK, is not here today, but we work very closely together along with Rachel, who's part of the Cubs UK fan base, and myself, George. I run Astros Fans UK. So we all have like our own separate things which we do, but as a group, we're like part of this MLB UK fan base. Like as a community, we used to be known as MLB UK Community, and it really is about that. We hold live watch parties throughout the season, and it's welcome for fans of all teams, welcome for new fans, old fans. We're really dedicated to trying to get everyone to come out and watch baseball because we all love this game, and we do it in a way which, like, whereas many of us are football fans, as in soccer as well, it's different atmosphere because in football you kind of have your established rivalries and everyone's like, and we all know how it is. But with baseball, we kind of treat it slightly differently because we don't want new fans to be put off. Like the last thing we want is someone to come into the door and everyone's like, and then you're like, well, hold on a second, how is that welcoming anyone on board?
100%.
So we welcome with open arms fans of all 30 teams, and it's a wonderful experience. We get, when we hold our events, the way we like to do them is we like to have multiple games on, like maybe 2, 3, 4 different games on. And it's a really cool experience. We've been working very, very closely along with MLB Europe and with Backflips and Nerds, who are part of this the group that we are in now in terms of the like MLB Europe fan community, and it's a great thing. We're just trying to grow, develop, and expand this fan base because it's an ongoing mission. It's like I said, it was difficult after the pandemic trying to get the momentum back. We're just trying to build it, and we're just trying to make sure that we kind of turn into a movement where people can hold their own events around the country because we'll help other people, whether they're in like, I don't know, Liverpool, Leeds, Newcastle, up in Scotland, in Glasgow, wherever. They can come to us and say, look, we've got an event, we want you to help us promote it. And we're absolutely happy to do that. We love to do that and put it out on social media through our side to say, right, this is the promo for it. Please come down, get involved. And it doesn't have to be, it doesn't have to be 100 people attending the event. You can have small events with genuinely with like 10, 15, 20 people that are successful because it's just about those seeds and growing that fan base piece by piece. There are certain like demographics which we're still trying to crack in terms of like American expats and some of the more wider like international fan bases, etc. over here. And this is why it's linking back to this is why it's really good what we're doing right now, because we love it. Yeah, we haven't had, as an MLB UK Clubhouse, we have not had up to this point a direct connection with Europe and European baseball interests. So I'm thrilled that we're getting an opportunity today to sit down, talk about it, establish that connection, which is something hopefully that we can like have going forward. So like when there's the next London series, it's like, we can do that kind of, that basis is there. And from a personal point of view, I would love to see MLB hold regular season MLB games in mainland Europe. So imagine in Germany. I mean, you'll have a better thought than me on this, but maybe would Berlin suit? I don't know if that would work. I don't know. It has to find the right shaped stadium, but like
because I think you need definitely a racing track.
Yeah,
in outside the pitch. So Berlin, the Olympia Stadium would be the option for it, definitely.
I'm there. If that's happening, I'm there. So yeah, it would be great. We're there, definitely. Yeah.
And the second option that we can offer for the MLB, so this is kind of promo from us now, and the Olympiastadion in München, the York Stadium from FC Bayern Munich. So this could be also an option. So, and two big cities, obviously, with airports that you can use. So, because this is also a thing that you have to be noticed, because London, I think, has the best connection to the US by plane.
Yeah, and especially with the language as well. Obviously, we're very lucky that we have the same language. I think that helps. And here's a question for you. So if there was a game in Germany, if there was a game in Berlin, do you think we could see the same kind of interest like we've seen for the London series? Do you think we'd have with that massive groundswell of interest and people coming from all over to sort of build the game like that? Is the interest in Germany there for that?
I think we need our countries next to Germany.
Yep.
So Berlin and also Munich have the option that we have direct access to levies. Yeah, let me say Czech Republic, for example, or Italy. So I think we need them as well, so that all travel to this place. But I think there's a little bit of movement in the German baseball. So we have a new broadcaster who shows every day, I think, one game, once or two times a week with a German commentator. So I think there's a little bit of movement, but it can be more. So that's why our podcast is also there. So we want to tell stories of the MLB. We want to tell every step, because it's obviously it's a game of stats, definitely. But we want to tell the stories behind the players, so that you have a connection with players, so that you root for a team, because this is something we would say it's more passionate when you have a story to a team, instead of what's the batting average, what's the OPS. So we know if Juan Soto is a good player or Floretani is a good player. So we need the stories behind the players. So yeah.
So I also think that when it comes to the cities, I think Munich and Berlin, they're already big cities inside Germany, and they're also very international. A lot of mixture of different cultures. And I think baseball, or let's say the MLB series in those cities, would bring people from other countries to those cities. And with all the people from the cities themselves, I think it would be a big success, given the proper promotion, marketing, and all the stories behind everything. If everything works well, I have high hopes for Germany. It's going to be one of the first markets for MLB to explore as well.
Yeah, because I mean, the impression that we get over here with our limited exposure to like the European side of baseball is that there is a lot of interest in Germany, Netherlands, I believe Italy, and possibly Spain as well. So naturally, it's not going to be the same level as football, of course. But but in terms of within its own realm, like, do you see it as like it's growing, it's on the rise?
Yeah, definitely. So the first league, the local league, they changed the name to Deutsche Baseball Liga. They want to to make it more professional, the whole league. And this is something that we see. I don't know the attendance, because unfortunately I can't go to the games on the weekend. But I think it's more professional. So, and this is a start. So you want to watch the games on television, but maybe at home in your hometown. So, but we are missing definitely lots of pitches. Okay, so that you can bring your kids and say, okay, don't go to soccer. Yeah, enough soccer kids at home, for example. Just try another sport. And I think this is something that has to change.
Yeah, it's difficult because it needs infusion of like the spending, the expenditure on the infrastructure is key, and that's how without that, it's very, very difficult to grow it from a grassroots level. So no, I totally understand what you're saying. Sorry to take over your podcast, but in terms of another question from my side, what if you were talking directly to MLB Europe right now, what would you say to them is the best way to try and grow MLB interest in Germany? What would you say is the next step?
It's a really good question. So I would definitely say that we have the MLB London series every year, or MLB Europe series every year, without a doubt. So there can't be any cancellation in which we great. So this can be it's always a downer, I would say. So if they cancel the game, so this has to be something that has to be really every year. I think they are doing a good job with social media and stuff like that. They're remote. I think this fan fest is also a good thing, definitely. Yeah, unfortunately, it's for us. It's in London. It's in UK. but I don't know if it's really successful in Germany when we haven't a game there.
It's difficult, isn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
I think you need to have that, and that's why for us over here, the London series was such a huge moment, because we had been, as a baseball fan since 2000, like we're saying, there had been rumblings of potentially MLB doing something in the way of having a game here for years, literally for maybe 2 decades plus. I think even in the 90s, like before I was a fan, I've read some sort of articles that like talking about, oh, would MLB ever hold a game here? And that's the key kind of threshold, the kind of watermark you have to get to try and bed in those roots. Because once you've got that, it's we still have a ton of work to do over here, but it certainly helps in terms of having that foothold where you can kind of build off that. Because like I said, for years we didn't have that, and we watched NFL holding games here year after year after year, NBA year after year after year, and it's just a case of like growing and growing and growing. So we constantly playing catch up, but so that's really what we've seen. I imagine it's the same for you guys in terms of trying to get that.
So one suggestion maybe for the MLB, they could connect really good with the DBL, so the Deutsche Baseball, German baseball.
Right.
So that they make like a fan fest for a regular season game for the DBL. We are betting cages, bringing some stuff, maybe some merch, maybe. Yeah, it's a financial season. But to tell the people, okay, this is the DBL, this is a professional league, but we have the biggest league with the best players. These are the players, these are teams, and try out. Maybe you go to your hometown club and play baseball or softball or something like that. But to get connected to DBL, to the German league, and also the MLB, and to make small fan fests and maybe all towns, a little fan fest, and then in the next years maybe do a big thing, for example in Berlin or Munich, and in 10 years maybe an MLB Germany game.
Wow, I mean, 10 years. Okay, that's a long road. I mean, I guess
I had no problem to fly every year to London to watch the game.
No, of course, why not?
Yeah, it's a great city.
No, of course, I agree with that. But it's in terms of like the growing the game in Germany. You were saying it's more of a kind of step by step. Don't go too far too soon. Try and build that and do it in a kind of cohesive way that makes sense. Okay, that's interesting. I think while we're here, what are you thinking about this Hackney Bridge takeover, which MLB Europe have put on here? From my initial view, it looks like a really cool event that they've got going on.
Okay, it's amazing. Sorry, what was the question? I was
just saying, like, what do you think of this Hackney Bridge takeover, like the MLB Europe have put on? Like, what are your thoughts on it?
It's really nice. So it's really cool. So we see a lot of people are here. I'm not sure if everyone is really interested in baseball, but this is right.
That's how you get them in.
That's how you get the new people into the sport. Yeah, I see a lot of people actually, for example, with family. I see maybe the dad is wearing the jersey, but the rest of the family are not. So maybe the dad is bringing the whole family to the sports, or maybe the wife is bringing the whole family to the sports. Either way, I think it's a good way to bring new people to the sports. And I think this is like a foundation to get a new sport into a new country, let's say. Yeah, anything just works step by step, in my opinion. And just like Niklas said, 10 years from the paper, it sounds like a long time, but like many things,
what do you do in a day?
Yeah, what can you build in a day?
Yeah,
everything builds up with consistency. Yeah, it's not a work of a day.
100%.
Yeah, we're 5 minutes away from the stadium, but I would love to go now directly to the stadium and watch an MLB game in the London Stadium. This would be really top notch.
Yeah.
But instead of a cancellation in Paris, this is a good deal. That's the idea.
I think so. I think this is really cool.
Really proud to be here, and really proud that we are talking to each other, as you already mentioned.
Absolutely.
There's a connection between the MLB UK Clubhouse and the German podcast Bases Loaded. So that's really nice.
Yeah, I think if for those who are lazy, if you could just sum up in terms of what Bases Loaded, what you guys do, what the kind of angle is, because we've got on our side here MLB UK Clubhouse. We run the live watch party events, but we've also got Backflips and Nerds who do more the podcast angle and like the more, as you say, more the statistics angle. So I think that that's probably more the kind of direct equivalent of what you guys do. So is that if in your words, how would you say what Bases Loaded is?
So I would say Bases Loaded is also a podcast. but definitely a platform where we try to bring people together. So we have a big Discord channel, for example. We bring the people MLB news directly to their phone by WhatsApp channel. We had a watch party in Hamburg 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So it was also very nice with public viewing. Is it also public viewing called in English? Public viewing?
Yeah, do you mean like watching a game out? Yeah, like that's what we do. Like we like watch parties. Yeah.
Because I think the people in America, so it would be say you got killed. Never mind. That's all right. Never mind. We're going forward.
Yeah.
Never mind. We're going forward. So definitely, watch parties is something we want to do more in the next years. Definitely.
I would love to see any like media on social media from if you guys do hold any events like that.
Yeah.
Do it. I'd love to see that. I mean, we will absolutely get behind that. Or now that's the kind of connection which transcends what everyone else. You know, that's even if you got MLB doing their thing, MLB Europe doing their thing. Like the fans, it's the organic part of the sport and the interest in the sport. So I'd love to see that. That connection would be amazing.
So maybe a little spoiler. So we are talking about the MLB Europe to bring the watch parties also to Germany.
Yeah,
For next season, definitely. This year is too close.
love to hear it.
So this is definitely a thing that we are covering up at the moment. Yeah, but yeah, bringing people together with the watch parties. We had the community parties for the London series one day before. So this would be something maybe for the next years to connect each other. So our community with your community to have one big party with your UK Clubhouse and the base total.
Oh yeah, we're there. Trust me, we're there. So yeah, just let us know. We're definitely on board with that.
Sounds amazing. So this is how I would introduce us and yeah, with Kevin together, but unfortunately he's not here.
Yeah, I can tell Basis Low that is very passionate about building a community within the baseball field. And what about George? Do you also do something similar? What Niklas has mentioned to maintain a community, to grow a community?
Yeah, I mean, it's just it's social media. I mean, it's the best way always, staying active and trying to create that kind of unity and community within the fan base. I think that's the best way to do it. And we're always looking to expand, like I said, and the live watch parties are the kind of vehicle, the method that we use to do that. And I think it's something which grows year on year, and it's a beautiful thing. And I'm really, like I said, I'm sorry to bang on about the point, but I'm really thrilled that we got this connection today to start that going forward. And I think it's a really cool thing. I can't wait to get behind that.
And I can't wait to do a community party next year in London together with you and the UK Clubhouse at 100 million.
Sounds like we have a plan already.
Definitely. So we just have to wait what the MLB is announced.
Sure.
So maybe this weekend we're really hopeful. This was also just thinking about, okay, they do the Sandfest. Maybe they are announcing the games. We will see. Today is Saturday. So we have one more day to go.
Yeah.
We're hoping
Fingers crossed. But yeah, it's a pleasure to have this connection, and we'll definitely remain in contact on this. In terms of like social media, like you guys, what's your the main kind of way to find you?
So it's Basis Loaded podcast directly. So I will put it in our show notes and I can send it to you so you can put it also into show notes.
Cool.
I think this is the easiest part, definitely.
For us, it's at MLB UK Clubhouse. We're on Twitter, or X as is nowadays, and Instagram, etc., Facebook. So we've got the group there, and it's we're always welcoming new people, and it'd be great to get this thing going.
It was a pleasure for ourselves. So likewise. Thank you very much, George, for your time.
Thanks, Nick.
And in German we would say Auf Wiedersehen, goodbye, see you.
Auf Wiedersehen.